What if Earth's last hope had to break the rules of the universe to win? It began with silence. Not the kind you hear at night. This was different. Heavy. Wrong. Like the world itself was holding its breath. Doctor Strange felt it before anyone else. A pull in the fabric of time. A shadow falling across the stars. Something old, something watching. The sky cracked open above the Pacific Ocean. A hole, wide and black, tore through the clouds. From it came ships, not metal, not built, grown. Living creatures shaped like weapons. People screamed. Cities burned. Satellites fell. And at the center of it all stood one figure. Tall, armored in black bone, crowned in fire. They called him the Alien King. He didn't speak much. He didn't need to. One glance, and you understood. Earth was not his first conquest. Doctor Strange knew magic. He had seen gods, monsters, time itself collapse and rebuild. But this was something else. Something he wasn't sure he could stop. Unless he used the one spell he swore never to touch. A spell that could kill anything, even him. This is the story of what happened when Doctor Strange broke the rules to stop a king, and what it cost the world to win. The morning started like any other. In New York City, people rushed to work, coffee in one hand, phone in the other. Taxi horns filled the air. Children laughed outside a schoolyard. The world felt busy, alive, and safe. High above the noise, in the sanctum sanctorum, Doctor Strange sat in silence. Legs crossed, eyes closed, floating a few inches off the ground. Candles flickered. Magical symbols glowed softly on the walls. To everyone else, it was a normal Tuesday. To Stephen Strange, something felt off. The wind moved wrong. The sun felt colder. Even time, which usually flowed like a smooth river, now twitched like it was unsure of itself. Wong entered the room, carrying a book older than any country. Still feeling it? He asked. Strange nodded slowly. Yes, like a storm behind a wall. Outside, people laughed, unaware that far above their skies, something had begun to shift. Somewhere beyond the moon, hidden in black space, a shape moved. It wasn't a planet. It wasn't a ship. It was something else. Something alive. And it was coming. But on Earth, everything still looked the same. Clear skies. Busy streets. Just another day. The last normal one they would ever have. That night, Doctor Strange couldn't sleep. He tried to meditate, tried to calm his mind, but the silence from earlier had turned into pressure, like something was pressing down on reality itself. Then, without warning, the room changed. The air cracked. The candles blew out. The floor vanished beneath him. And Strange fell, not through space, but through time. He landed in a place he had never seen before. The sky was red. The oceans boiled. Giant ships floated above dead cities. Statues of a horned figure stood everywhere. Some broken, some worshipped, all terrifying. And in the center of it all a throne. Tall, black, covered in bone and metal. A creature sat on it, massive, silent, crowned with fire, eyes glowing like dying stars. The Alien King. Strange couldn't move, couldn't speak, but he heard a voice. Deep, cold, final. This world bent, and it broke, just like the others. The king stood. Reality around him cracked like glass. Magic, science, gods, none of it mattered. He looked at Strange, as if he could see through the vision. You're already too late. Strange gasped and woke. He was back in the sanctum, sweating, heart pounding. The room was untouched, but something had changed. The timeline had split. A warning had been given. A future had been shown. And it was up to Doctor Strange to stop it, before that future became real. But how do you stop something that has already won in every version of time? 3 days later, the sky broke. It started with a deep rumble, not thunder, not an earthquake. Something worse. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, a black crack opened in the sky. It didn't glow. It didn't flash. It just tore, like someone had ripped a hole in space itself. And through it they came. At first, it was just one. A massive creature, shaped like a ship, but alive, breathing. Its body moved like muscle and metal mixed together. Then came another, and another, hundreds. The invasion had begun. They didn't send a message. They didn't ask for peace. They just attacked. Tokyo lost power in under a minute. Sydney's skies turned black. A ship landed outside Paris and started draining energy from the ground. In New York, people stared at the sky, frozen in shock. Clouds spun in unnatural patterns. The air became heavy. Radios died. Cell phones went dark. Then the screams began. Doctor Strange flew above Manhattan, the cloak of levitation snapping behind him like a flag. He saw the panic below. Cars crashing, people running, lights flickering. Wong appeared beside him in a flash of golden sparks. "They're not from any dimension I know," he said. Strange didn't answer. He was staring at the center of the sky tier. Something was coming through, bigger than the ships, taller than a skyscraper. It stepped onto Earth like it had done it 1,000 times before. It didn't roar. It didn't raise its arms. It just looked around, eyes glowing, crown burning, armor pulsing with a strange green light. The alien king had arrived. Doctor Strange felt it immediately. The pressure, the pull of something wrong. Magic recoiled from the creature like it was poison. "It's not just an invader," Strange whispered. "It's a conqueror." The alien king raised his hand, and 3 buildings collapsed without a sound. No beams, no weapons, just will. Strange's jaw tightened. This was no simple fight. This was a war Earth was not ready for. And the worst part? It had already started. Time was breaking. The clocks in Doctor Strange's sanctum spun wildly. Reflections moved before the real world did. Spells unraveled on their own. The alien king wasn't just here. He was changing the world by existing in it. Strange couldn't wait any longer. He opened a portal, golden sparks slicing through the air, and stepped inside the largest alien ship floating over New York. Inside, the ship was alive. The walls breathed. Strange heard whispers, voices of conquered worlds, languages he didn't know but somehow understood. At the center, he saw him, the alien king. He stood alone, hands behind his back, looking down at Earth through a wide window. The stars reflected off his black armor. His crown glowed with red fire. His back was turned, but he spoke first. "Another magician," he said calmly. "Your kind always come first. Proud, brave, so easy to break." Strange didn't flinch. "You're not welcome here." The king turned slowly. His face was not human, eyes too deep, skin like obsidian, pulsing with veins of green light. But his expression was calm, like a king looking at a servant. "I have conquered 12 planets, burned 3, erased 2. Earth is nothing new." "Then why come?" Strange asked. "Because your planet fought back last time. With a hammer, with a shield, with hope. I want to see what's left of that spirit. I want to kill it myself." Strange raised his hand, a glowing circle of golden energy appearing in front of him. "Then you'll see it up close." He launched the first spell, chains of pure light wrapped in time magic. They hit the king directly, but the king didn't move. The chains cracked, then shattered. One piece melted midair. The king stepped forward. "Your magic bends time." "Impressive," he said. He raised his hand. Reality twisted. The room stretched, warped. Strange felt himself pulled in 4 directions. He blinked, and suddenly he was standing in a desert, then underwater, then floating in space. "This is my magic," the king whispered from nowhere and everywhere. "It does not bend time. It bends truth." Strange growled, summoned a new spell, and broke the illusion. The ship's walls snapped back into place. The king looked slightly amused. "You are strong," he said. "Stronger than most." "And you're not a god," Strange replied. "Just another tyrant." The king tilted his head. "Then stop me." For a second, the room fell silent. Doctor Strange stared at the alien king, and for the first time in years, he felt something he hated: doubt. He opened a portal and escaped before the next attack landed. Back in the sanctum, he collapsed to his knees. He's not just power, Strange said to Wong. He's will. He sees the world and forces it to obey. Can we stop him? Wong asked. Strange looked at his shaking hands. I don't know. But deep inside, he already knew the truth. The king couldn't be stopped with normal magic. They would need something darker, something forbidden. The next day, Dr. Strange made his move. He didn't wait for more cities to fall. He didn't wait for backup that wasn't coming. The Avengers were gone. The other sorcerers were scattered. Earth had one chance, and it was him. Over the skies of London, another alien ship hovered like a silent god. People had stopped running. They just stared now, numb, waiting for whatever came next. Strange appeared in front of the ship in a flash of golden light. The wind blew around him. The cloak of levitation fluttered behind his shoulders. His hands were already glowing with runes. Inside the ship, the alien king watched. He smiled just a little. Strange didn't speak. He raised both hands and slammed them together. A giant ring of light exploded across the sky. Chains of fire wrapped around the ship. Runes carved into the clouds. Every word cast in a language older than stars. The ship screamed. It wasn't just a machine, it was alive. And it was in pain. Strange kept going. He whispered spells under his breath. Fast, sharp, dangerous. Time slowed. Gravity bent. The ship groaned and cracked in midair. Then the king stepped out. He didn't fall. He didn't fly. He walked on air. Each step pushed the clouds away like waves in water. He raised one hand, a simple gesture, and all of Strange's magic vanished in a flash of green light. Gone. Erased like chalk from a board. The sky fell silent. Strange's eyes narrowed. He sent a blast of pure energy, sharp like a blade, fast as light. The king blocked it with his palm. I expected more, the king said. Strange didn't stop. He created copies of himself, dozens, surrounding the king. They attacked from every side, casting spells, opening mirror dimensions, slashing with blades made of light. The king spun once, and every clone vanished in a burst of black smoke. He looked up at the real Strange, hovering above him. You are skilled, the king said, but you are still playing. Strange summoned the crimson bands of Sidorak, red ropes of unbreakable magic. They wrapped around the king like snakes, pulling him down. This time, he grunted. A second of weakness. Strange dug down with a blade of pure time, aiming for the heart. But the king roared and shattered the bands like glass. Strange barely escaped. The blast sent him crashing into a rooftop far below. He coughed blood. The king hovered above him, untouched. Do better, he said. Then he vanished. Strange lay still for a long moment. He had thrown everything he had. And it wasn't enough. Not yet. The world was losing. Not just a battle, everything. In city after city, the sky turned dark. Ships floated like silent monsters above capitals. The news stopped reporting death counts. It was too much, too fast. The alien king didn't speak to the world. He gave no demands, no promises. He simply took. Energy vanished from power grids. Oceans boiled near his ships. Forests withered under strange storms. London, Rio, Seoul, Nairobi, New Delhi. Each place told the same story. He came and light went out. Back in New York, people stayed inside. Some prayed. Others packed bags they wouldn't get to use. Everyone watched the sky. They were waiting, not for help, but for the end. In Times Square, the screens were frozen. One showed an image captured by satellite. The alien king floating above Paris, eyes glowing, arms open like a god ready to remake the world. Dr. Strange watched it too. He stood in the sanctum, silent. His hands were still burned from the last fight. His cloak was torn. He hadn't slept. Wong placed a hand on his shoulder. People are looking to you now. Strange didn't reply. He looked at a map, full of red dots. Each dot was a fallen city, a lost battle. I tried, Strange whispered. I gave him everything. And he laughed. You're not alone, Wong said. We may be small, but we still have will. Strange shook his head. Will is not enough anymore, not against him. Elsewhere, leaders met in underground bunkers. They argued over surrender, over missiles, over hiding places. But deep down, they all knew the truth. There was no surrender, no negotiation. This wasn't war. It was judgment, and Earth was failing the test. In Wakanda, Shuri tried to contact anyone. The Avengers, outer space, anyone. No answer. In Sokovia, a girl looked up and saw a ship eat the stars. In Tokyo, a boy drew a hero on paper, but halfway through he stopped. Because he didn't know what hope looked like anymore. Across the world, the same feeling grew. Helplessness. People didn't scream anymore. They just waited. But in the middle of that growing silence, something strange happened. The stars shifted. Time paused. And Doctor Strange opened a book that was never meant to be read. A book locked behind 10 spells, sealed by 3 sorcerers who had died just to keep it hidden. "What are you doing?" Wong asked. "What I have to," Strange said. His voice was flat now, cold, decided. "That book, if you open it, you can't go back." "I know." Strange opened the cover. Magic surged. The room shook. The windows cracked. It was a spell of death, a spell that could kill anything. But it came at a price, and Strange had just accepted it. The room was dark now, not from lack of light, but because the light itself was afraid. Dr. Strange stood in front of the ancient book, pages open, symbols glowing in a deep red, each word written in a language that hurt the eyes to read. The spell of null time. It did more than destroy. It erased. It could pull a being out of space, time, memory, everything. Even a god. Even the alien king. But there was a reason no sorcerer had ever used it. Casting it meant giving up part of your soul. Forever. Strange knew that. He also knew there were no other options left. Wong stepped forward, voice trembling. "Stephen, this isn't power. This is poison." "Then let it poison me," Strange answered quietly. "As long as it saves them. You might not survive. He will destroy everything if I don't try." Strange placed his hands over the glowing text. The magic bit into his skin like fire. Images flashed before his eyes. The lives of people across the world, praying, running, hiding. Faces he'd never seen, and now might never get to. "This spell, it wants something in return," Wong warned. "I know." Strange took a deep breath. "It wants me." And still, he didn't stop. He began to speak the words. Not aloud, with his soul. The spell hurt him. His eyes turned white. His veins glowed gold. Outside, the wind howled. In the sky, clouds twisted. The world felt the shift. And so did the alien king. He turned suddenly, as if sensing something ancient awaken. For the first time since he arrived on Earth, he looked concerned. The storm came first. Black clouds rolled across the sky, but not from weather, from magic, from judgment. All around the world, people looked up, and they saw him, Doctor Strange, floating above New York City, his cloak torn, his body glowing with red and gold light. The forbidden spell now part of him. His eyes were no longer human. He had become something else. Not a god, not a monster, just a man who had made the hardest choice. The alien king rose to meet him. From the top of his largest ship, he stepped into the sky like a ruler arriving at court. His armor hummed. His crown blazed. The world watched. Phones recorded. Satellites streamed. People stood in streets, windows, rooftops, silent. They knew this was it. Strange spoke first. "You've taken enough." The king tilted his head. "You burned your soul to stop me. For what? A few extra days of fear." Strange's voice didn't shake. "Not for days. For a chance." The king laughed, deep and cold. "Then try." He attacked. Energy dark as night shot forward. Magic meant to tear Strange apart. Strange didn't move. He raised one hand and caught it. The dark energy vanished in his palm. The alien king blinked. Then Strange moved. Faster than light, faster than thought. He appeared behind the king, striking with a sword made from time itself. The king blocked, barely. They clashed across the sky. Every hit shook the air. Buildings trembled. Lightning flashed without thunder. Strange opened portals. The king shattered them. The king threw black fire. Strange turned it into glass. They fought in the sky, then underwater, then above the clouds. They broke reality with every step. In Cairo, a girl watching whispered, "He's winning." In Wakanda, Shuri said, "No, he's bleeding." Strange was hurting. Every second, the spell inside him pulled more of his soul away. His hand shook, his vision blurred, but he kept going. Because he had to. The alien king landed a blow. Strange crashed through a skyscraper. Smoke, fire, silence. The king floated down, calm again. "Was that it?" he said. From the rubble, Strange stood, slowly, bleeding, barely holding together. "No," he whispered. He raised both hands. The sky cracked open. A storm unlike anything Earth had ever seen poured from above, made of time, light, and soul. The forbidden spell fully awakened. The king looked up, and for the first time, he looked afraid. Strange flew into the sky, glowing like a star on fire. "This isn't for revenge," he shouted. "It's for everyone." He slammed his palms together and spoke the final word, a sound older than language, a word no human throat could say. The sky turned white. The world held its breath. The alien king screamed. The light consumed them both. For 10 full seconds, there was nothing. No sound, no wind, just light, and then silence. The sky cleared. The clouds broke, and the alien king was gone. Not dead, not destroyed, just erased, like he had never been. But Strange was gone too. Only his cloak remained, floating down like a falling leaf. It landed gently on the roof of the sanctum. The world below began to move again. People stepped outside, not with cheers, but with quiet awe. It was over. The king was gone, and Dr. Strange had saved them all. The sky was blue again. For the first time in weeks, sunlight touched the earth without shadows behind it. Birds returned to the skies. The wind felt normal, but the world was not the same. Something was missing, something important. Dr. Stephen Strange was gone. There was no body, no grave, no final goodbye, only his cloak, folded gently on the steps of the Sanctum Sanctorum. Wong picked it up with shaking hands. He knew the cost, he whispered, and he paid it anyway. In cities across the world, people gathered, not to celebrate, but to remember. Candles were lit, photos were shared. Strange's name was written on walls, in books, in hearts. He had always been the strange man in the shadows, the protector most people never saw, the one who stopped threats before anyone even knew they were coming. Now everyone knew, and they would never forget. In Wakanda, a statue was built. In Tokyo, monks painted his story on silk. In Brazil, children drew him with glowing hands and kind eyes. And in New York, at the top of a tall building, Spider-Man sat quietly, watching the city. He wiped his face and whispered, "Thanks, document." The world had been saved, not by an army, not by a god, but by a man who broke the rules to protect what was right. A man who chose everyone else over himself. Dr. Strange didn't ask for thanks. He didn't need worship. He left behind no kingdom, no crown, just a safer world. And a reminder that real heroes don't always wear smiles or make speeches. Sometimes they just vanish and leave hope in their place. Weeks passed. The world slowly began to rebuild. Broken buildings were repaired. Families returned to their homes. The fear that once filled every corner of Earth began to fade. But the memory of Dr. Strange stayed. In the Sanctum Sanctorum, Wong lit a single candle each night. He didn't say much. He just stood in silence, letting the flames speak for him. Children in schools spoke his name with respect. Some dreamed of becoming sorcerers. Others just wanted to help, the way he did. Across the world, stories spread. They weren't always the same. Some said Strange became a spirit of the stars. Others said he was now watching from a secret realm beyond time. But they all agreed on one thing. He didn't run. He stood. And in doing so, he reminded people what courage really meant. One evening, On the rooftop of a quiet home, a young girl stared up at the sky. "Do you think he's still out there?" she asked her father. He looked at the stars and smiled. "I think he never really left." Far from Earth, in a place between worlds, something shimmered. A figure stood at the edge of the stars, cloaked, silent, watching. Doctor Strange, still guarding reality, still protecting those who couldn't protect themselves. His body was gone, but his legend had only just begun. The end.